Hey there, it is Rob from Crypto Bobby, and today I am talking about valuations in the cryptocurrency space and how to logically evaluate what some of these cryptocurrencies, what some of these tokens might be worth, some of the big benefactors, and some of the pitfalls to potentially valuating these currencies and how you can really approach things in the most logical way possible. Also, want to talk about one cryptocurrency that's been up 7x percent, 700% or so since its ICO, District0X or DNT. Is it worth looking at in the future at its current price point? And is this one of the kind of new hot coins that might be going up, or is it just time to not even consider looking at it after its big run up? So if you are new here, I would appreciate a subscribe. Would really love that. Coming out with daily content on this YouTube channel, my thoughts on the cryptocurrency space, how you can kind of logically invest in some of this, maybe some of the new coins that might be worth taking a look at. I don't want to give you any type of definitive yes, no pump and dump crap here. Just want to give you my thoughts in a very honest, relaxed, open forum for you. And if you do have questions, always feel free to sound off in the comments. Try to answer as many of them as possible. So let's get into the valuation discussion. One of the interesting things I thought about valuing cryptocurrencies was actually formulated from Henry Blodgett, who is the founder of BusinessInsider.com, and he was one of the kind of stock analysts during the dot-com boom and subsequent dot-com, the original dot-com bust, and actually contributed quite a bit to the dot-com bust, I believe. But he had a video, which I will link to below in the description, that talks a little bit about how you can value something like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And I thought it was really interesting because he compared it to the stock market. And, in the stock market, traditionally speaking, you have companies like Amazon, you have companies like Apple, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Walmart, whoever. All of these companies are valued by their price to earnings ratio, by their revenues, by their growth, things of that nature. Within cryptocurrency, it's almost, for at least for many of these cryptocurrencies, it's almost impossible to value a Bitcoin or an Ethereum by the traditional metrics of the stock market. Bitcoin doesn't have a price to earnings ratio. It's not a for-profit company, so there isn't revenue. It's not a traditional valuation. So when you're looking at it, you can't say, okay, well, Bitcoin is making $10 billion this year, and it is in the internet telecom space. So the average internet telecom company trades at a 25x price to earnings ratio, blah, blah, blah. That's not how you would value it. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of these other platforms are essentially valued at what people are willing to pay for them. There is no determining factor really there to the valuation of some of these cryptocurrencies, and that's why I think it's really interesting. That is because there is no necessarily determining factor, there's no limiting factor of what Bitcoin or an Ethereum or a Neo or what Litecoin, whatever you might want to be looking at, there's no limiting factor to what they could be valued at. So you can look at a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, and it's not completely out of the realm of possibility for there to be a $50,000 Bitcoin or a $2,000, $5,000 Ethereum. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not impossible because there is no limiting factor there. And when we talk about that and we look at something else, like you look at Amazon can only trade at so many multiples of its price to earnings ratio or at so many multiples of its revenue, which makes it a lot harder for somebody to be willing to pay X amount more than somebody else. Within Bitcoin or within Ethereum or Ripple or whatever, might not be the case because Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're not for-profit companies. There isn't a limiting factor to them. And the one alternative, though, to that, and one I think really interesting point here, is that when you are looking at this information, when you are thinking about this in your head, a lot of these new ICOs are essentially companies, products that are in a lot of cases like really for-profit companies, but they have created these tokens to raise capital and to encourage people when the products launch, if they're not launched yet, encourage people to be able to kind of have some skin in the game and be able to adopt their platform or their product. So when you're looking at traditional investment valuation, if you're a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley or in New York or wherever, and you're looking at some of these companies, some of these products that have raised hundreds of millions of dollars in an ICO and have tokens with these massive market caps, you have to consider the fact that a lot of them don't have a dollar of revenue. So there might be a point in time, I don't know when, I don't think it's necessarily going to be soon, but there could very realistically be a point in time where somebody's going to look at some of these tokens. Let's say, for example, and I'm a holder of this token, but let's say, for example, Civic. Civic is a product. It's an app. It's identity management, identity verification, and it has raised millions, and it's worth right now. Let's take a look. $209 million. From a market capitalization of a token perspective. I think when they raised the token, they sold 30 million or so, or around 37 million. But there might be a point in time where people are going to look at Civic, and it could be a year in the future, it could be 2 years in the future, and they could say nobody's using the Civic app. It has no useful purpose. The only reason that we're investing in this token is for speculation purposes, and there might be a point in time where that really starts to drop the price of some of these tokens, because people are going to want to see, hey, where's the results? Where is are you making any money? Are you actually doing anything? Is anybody using these products? So that is something that I think is interesting. It's worth considering. The same can be said, again, I'm a holder of Status. The same can be said for Status, because if they launch their app, they get out of beta phase, they launch their app, and then it's crickets, and there's 5 people using Status, but the token is worth $208 million. That could be a problem, and that's something that you want to understand from a valuation perspective. Is these companies right now, the market is, these companies are worth what the market says they're worth, and the market right now says the Status token is worth $208 million. Status is probably not making a dollar in revenue, and I'm sure they're innovating and they're doing all the right things, but there might be a point in time where if the organization isn't, making any money, or they're not able to support themselves, or nobody's using their platform, that token could go down significantly. And it's a lot, I think, probably going to be easier to evaluate if if something like a Civic or a Status is doing well, or even a Sia coin. And that was something that I invested in a while ago and then got out, and I'm actually kind of glad I did, because that has really gone down over the past month and a half or so. And that's something where I think you could look at the product itself and say, hey, is this product good? Is this doing what we hoped it would? Is this innovating like we thought it was? And there's going to be a certain time, maybe it does. I haven't really researched it too much within the past month, but is this really, doing what it was originally spoken about in the white paper? Are they executing on that vision? Are they creating a real company? Are these tokens actually going to be worth something outside of speculation? Yes or no? And that is it's just going to be a lot, in my opinion, it's going to be a lot easier right now. Right now, it's easier for these tokens like Civic and Status and all these types of smaller cap tokens that are driving up their price like crazy. The valuations are going through the roof, and that's great if you're holding on to them. I'm holding on to them for right now, but in the back of my mind too, I'm also thinking, hey, are these coins, are these products really worth a couple $100 million in market cap? And maybe yes, maybe no. But when it comes down to it, something like Bitcoin and Ethereum is a lot harder to actually determine the valuation there, because outside of just adoption, generally speaking, and how much volume and trading is going on, there isn't necessarily they're not companies. It's a cryptocurrency. So it's harder to value a pure play cryptocurrency or a pure play platform like an Ethereum than it is to value a company that has a auxiliary token to kind of support, and that was basically used as an IC to raise money and through an ICO. So that is kind of my thought process in valuing these companies and what that could potentially mean for you. Now, outside of that, something that's caught my eye recently, I was evaluating it as an ICO investment, and I didn't pull the trigger because I was like, you know what? And that was a bad move, of course, right? That's, again, part of this YouTube channel is I want to share the good moves, the bad moves I make, and how you can best learn from all of that. So this is District0X or DNT. And this has, over the past, since its ICO and its release in the ICO basically a week ago, this has really gone through the roof. It is pretty much solely trading right now on Liqui. For the most part, it's a little bit on Ether Delta, but for the most part, pretty much all the trading volume is on Liqui, which is a smaller exchange I've used a little bit before, but I prefer Bittrex to it. But District0X has come out from an initial, I believe their ICO raise was for around $10 million, and now they're at a $70 million market cap. They're up 50% today. So they're up quite a bit on the day. And as you can see, I mean, taking a look at these charts, this has been a heavy rise up over the past, week and a half. And this is one coin that I am considering hopping into. I kind of hate it. It makes me puke to think of like, oh, I'm going to jump into a coin or I may jump into a coin that's gone up 700% over the past week. And I missed out on that 700%. But with the valuation of DNT right now, of District0X right now, it's at a $70 million valuation. It wouldn't be outrageous to think that DNT could be a $150 million market cap, a $200 million market cap, kind of similar to a Civic or similar to a Status. I think that's certainly a possibility. And I think, quite frankly, that there is that distinct possibility that it could go up quite a bit here. I don't want to, by no means do I want to shill this coin or pump it. I could easily purchase it right now at this point, and it could go back down to $50 million in market cap or $20 million, and I could be Robbie Bagholder. But I think it might be worth the risk right now, because sometimes, and what I've seen at least in a lot of this recently, is it's just kind of what's hot. It's, in a lot of cases, it's not even really the tech, as much as it should be the technology and the fundamentals behind this. Crypto is about what's hot, what's getting hyped, what people are talking about, and right now people seem to be talking about DNT. There's more chatter about it, and it's only being listed right now on really Liqui, and there was a little bit of controversy with DNT around being listed on Bittrex because they had to pay a $5,000 compliance fee, and they didn't want to pay basically $5,000 for a compliance fee. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. They made it a big deal. Both sides made it a big deal. But ultimately speaking, I believe now DNT District0X is going to be listed on Bittrex. I think that's also part of the run. It's kind of the whole buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor came out that they were going to be listed on Bittrex, and the market cap went from 45 to 75 million. So that might already be priced into this token, but it's still something worth considering. I haven't done an incredible amount of research on DNT yet, but just for full transparency, I am considering investing in DNT. I think it's something that, like I said, it might be one of those coins that can go from $70 million in market cap to a $200 million market cap, like a Civic or like a Status, kind of in that type of realm, in that type of vanity. So I think that's something that, if I'm in your shoes, I'd keep an eye on. Everybody's looking for the next Neo. Everybody's looking for the next Ethereum or the next Bitcoin. I don't know. if I give you a definitive answer, I'm full of crap. So I'm not giving you a definitive answer. I'm just telling you where my head's at right now and what I'm considering investing in and where I might be investing in as well, so that you can kind of have an idea of what I'm thinking about. I am not an expert at this, but I just try to follow the trends. I try to see what's going on and make market movements where I think that they make the most sense. So that's kind of my overall thought process there. District0X is what I'm going to consider looking at. Hopefully, I won't be the bag holder on it, but I think that eventually this token might have enough legs, enough momentum once it goes on Bittrex to really kind of move up in valuation to a $150 to $200 million token. So that's my thought process there. Now, outside of that, I did want to just quickly mention that I just put together, if my internet actually works, just put together a new website so that you guys can check it out. Serves a little bit of a home base here for you. It's cryptobobby.com, and that'll just have a few different places for. My internet sucks, so too bad. But that'll just have a few different places for what is going on in the crypto space. Kind of my overall thought process is there, as well as some tools and resources that I'd recommend using. And if you want to check out the podcast, if you want to link to the YouTube channel or anything like that, you can check out cryptobobby.com. It's pretty bare bones right now, but I'll look to improve it in the future and make that a little bit better in the future. And last thing, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. I would really love that. Coming out with daily content every single day on what's going on in the crypto space, just my overall thoughts, market sentiment, and how that maybe some of the new tokens that you could potentially look into, that you could potentially play. Again, I am not about pump and dumps. I am not about shilling. I'm just trying to be as insightful as possible and approach cryptocurrency with a level-headed, relaxed manner, so that you can avoid all of the hypey other crap that goes on in this world. There's definitely some fantastic people out there. There's also a lot of pump and dump shiller, crazy people that have Udemy courses. But outside of that, just want to bring you this in the most level-headed approach as possible right now. But again, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate your time today. It was such a pleasure speaking with you. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments, feel free to sound off in the comments. Would love to hear from you. Try to respond to as many of them as possible. And for now, it is Rob from Crypto Bobby signing out. I appreciate your time. Have a good one. Good luck, whether you're trading, holding, selling, buying. Good luck. Peace.